Hey guys, so really quick, so this is going to be the start of my project vlog for me test knitting the Wildflower Pullover by Andrea Goggin. I think that's how you say her last name. But I started this last night. It is currently the day after Christmas, so December 26th. But I started this last night. So far, I only have 4.5 rows done. But yes, so I am using the Alden flannel yarn in the color slate for my contrast color, which is this gray, and then Brooklyn tweed tones light in the shade Stonewash Overtone for my main color, which is the light blue. But yes, I have done my gauge swatch. I'll show y'all when I get home and everything. But I have done my gauge swatch and everything. I just really wanted to show y'all where I'm at so far. This project is supposed to have, well, this pullover is supposed to have like 6 to 8 inches of positive ease. So literally I casted on all these stitches and I was like, wait a minute, this is actually gonna be like kind of huge, but I think I'm gonna like it. It's gonna be like a little oversized or whatever. And yeah, so I'm just gonna keep knitting on this. I'm supposed to be going to the movies in a little bit, so that's why I brought my project with me, so I can at least try to finish my ribbing. And yeah, talk to y'all later.
Okay, hey y'all, again. So it is now the next day, y'all. I came back from the movies yesterday, and I was just tired. I didn't feel like hopping back on here to show y'all the update. So this is what I ended up getting done yesterday during the movies. During the movie. During the movie. I'm currently on row 16, I believe. And before I walked into the movies, I was on row 6. So yeah, I got about 10 rows done. Yeah, it's honestly like, y'all, it's so crazy. I'm actually so excited for this one. I don't know. It's so funny because literally when I was doing the gate swatch, like when I first got my yarn and everything, like the main color, when I was doing the gate swatch, I was like, I don't know how I'm going to feel about this. Like, not even the color, but like the feel of the yarn. But now that like I'm doing this ribbing and everything, I'm still kind of like, this feels so weird. But at the same time, it feels so good. And I feel like it's going to be so warm once I finish it and everything. So I'm very excited. Let me get my gauge swatch down really quick. I have it up on the wall. Okay, so well, I guess I should tell y'all what yarn I'm using. First, I guess I'll start there. So this is what I'm using for my main color. It is the Brooklyn Tweed Tones Light in Stonewash Overtone. Yeah, Stonewash Overtone. It is fingering weight yarn. It says American Columbia wool. I believe this yarn is made in America, hence American Columbia wool. But yes, this was like the recommended yarn, and then also for like test knitters and everything, we all got like I believe it was like 15% discount or something on our yarn purchase. So yes, so I ended up going with this. I had a few yarns in stash. Like I didn't have any that were like sweater quantity, but I had like 1 or 2 skeins of like certain colors. And so I have like 3 grays that I was just like, I want to get rid of these because I don't really have anything to make them with, which really, I mean, I could like I have enough, like I have a sweater quantity for like my little brother, but I already used I had like a blue shade in the same yarn And he just did not like it. He thought it was scratchy. So I was like, well, can't use that now for him. So yeah, so I was just like, oh, okay, I could probably use that for this sweater and get rid of most of it, if not all of it. And so yeah, so anyways, I'm using this for the main color, and then for my contrast color, I'm using the Autumn Woods flannel in the color Slate. This isn't a fingering yarn, which, hey, it was close enough to like the ply. Like, I'll show y'all. Like, the plies are close enough that I'm just like, okay, it's close enough to being fingering. It's DK weight yarn. It is 47% Surrey alpaca, 38% alpaca wool, and then 15% non-superwash merino wool. I had got this from a Knit Crate package, subscription, like when I first started knitting, and I never used it. I had 2 of these, and then I also had I believe it was Alden Woods Villanova or something like that. But it's like a purple shade, and I didn't want to use them together. And so even though they do look very pretty together, like the purple was like a lavendery color, but I didn't want to use them together because the lavender color had like a high sheen to it, and I was just like, I don't like how that looks against this. So yeah, so it's just been sitting in my stash since, it's been almost 4 years since I started knitting. It's literally been sitting in my stash, and I was just like, oh my gosh, this would literally go perfect with this blue. This, and then I had, like I said, my 2 other grays. But now I guess to make it like full circle, why I'm only using these 2 colors. We're going to look at this gauge swatch. Do y'all see the pattern? No, you cannot. You can only see the pattern for the bottom one. So as y'all can see, like, it's very hard to see. I guess you can kind of see it with the really light gray. But to me, it was just so hard to see. And then I also did like like when you take a picture, and everything, you can do like the mono contrast. I did that, and it was like just parts of this, since it was like variegated, I guess you would call it, variegated yarn for this one. It was like different spots of it was, you could tell the difference between the main color and then that yarn, but then other spots it was very low contrast. So I was just like, yeah, no, I'm just not going to use that one. The gray in the middle, it literally blended in when I did that. So I was like, well, that's a definite no. And then you can clearly see, literally all the way back here, you can still see the pattern for the Autumn Woods one. But yeah, so this is my gauge swatch. I did use 3.5 millimeter needles on this, and the gauge for the pattern is 26 stitches over 31 rows. And when I used the 3.5, I believe I want to say I got 27 stitches over 32 rows. And I was originally thinking about just sizing up to 3.75, but I didn't want to do another gauge swatch. So because this is honestly kind of big as is. So I didn't want to do another gauge swatch. So I just said, I'm just going to do the 3.5. One extra stitch up is not huge of a difference for me, and I don't really think that it's going to mess up even though I am test knitting, I don't think it's going to really mess up the fit of the pattern, like of the sweater and everything once it's finished, that drastically. And then also I do have to keep in mind that this is literally just a gauge swatch. So once, and also like I'm not used to the pattern. Once I did start my pattern down here, like my gauge swatch down here, and then I worked up. So I will say that I did get a lot more comfortable in knitting the pattern and like remembering it and everything. Like I didn't make any mistakes with the colors that I'm actually using. So I do think that once I actually get into the motion of knitting the sweater and everything, my gauge is going to be like right on. So yeah, so therefore I'm not going to size up. I'm just going to do the 3.5 like I did for my gauge swatch. But yes, so anyways, I have like 30 minutes before I need to leave to go to work. So I'm just going to continue to knit on this for a bit. Hopefully I can get like I only need 4 more rows for my ribbing before I can actually start on the pattern for the sweater. So, well, the body of the sweater. So I'm hoping that I can get, if not all 4 rows done in the next 30 minutes, at least like 3 of them. Before I have to go to work. So then when I come home and I can work on this in the morning tomorrow, I can just straight jump into, just knitting the pattern. Hey y'all, so I'm back. It has been a few days since I last got on here and showed y'all what I did. I think the last time I was on here, I only had like the ribbing done, maybe a few rows of the color work. I don't remember, but I have knit quite a bit of it so far. And I said, let me get on here before I get like done with the body. And then y'all are like, girl, what? So yeah. Anyways, so this is how much I've gotten done, y'all. It looks so freaking good. Like, oh, oh my god. Like I'm literally obsessed already. I cannot wait until I finish this. I don't know. It's kind of weird because like holding it up on this camera right now, I feel like the bottom row looks a little muddy, but I mean, also I gotta think that okay, this is not blocked at all, so the stitches aren't relaxed or anything. But like looking at it in person, it like you can clearly tell the pattern and everything. But no, y'all, it looks so good. I'm so happy with how it's coming out so far. I will say this, like knitting from doing the gauge swatch to actually knitting on the project, it's so easy for me to like remember the pattern without actually even looking at the pattern. I want to say I've looked at the pattern like maybe a total like after this is after knitting the gauge swatch, maybe a total of like 3 or 4 times. Really just to make sure that I am doing it correctly, and then also when it came to the second part of the pattern repeat, that I was doing it right. But yeah, since then I have not been looking at the pattern. I've just been knitting on it, counting my color work and everything like that. Also, mind y'all, this is my first color work project. And I know a lot of people I was like looking online and stuff, people were saying like tips were to put like stitch markers in for like after every repeat and everything. I did not do that. I said I'll be okay. And I'm happy I didn't, because that would have honestly bothered me, slipping all those stitch markers. But yes, I'm so happy with how it's coming out so far. Yes, and then also I don't know if y'all want to see, but my I haven't really been having like truly catch floats just because of how the pattern is. But y'all, look at the inside. Sickening. Like you can literally see the pattern from the inside, and I love that so much. Um, but yeah, so I think this is gonna be like the first week of my update for um knitting this pattern, because it's only been, I think I first recorded like Wednesday of last week, and it is currently Thursday of this week. I haven't knit on it at all today, so I think this is like the color work and everything. This is like a matter of like 3 days of knitting for me, because I really just been knitting like once I get off of work and it's like super late at night. So I haven't really been knitting on it for that many hours of the day and everything. But yes, I do plan for like next week to at least get 3/4 of the body done. Hopefully I can get up to the sleeves. Um, but yeah. But yes, this is where I'm at so far. But yeah, I don't know what else to say. So I guess that will be the end of this first week's video of knitting the Wallflower Pullover by Andrea Goggin. But yeah, bye y'all.